Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode Season 3, kicked off with an absolute banger in Daytona where we saw Spencer Boyd, Hailie Deegan, Todd Gilliland amongst the winners of the 3 series from Trucks Xfinity as well as the Cup Series. Todd Gilliland, a Daytona 500 winner, into the playoffs as we had a runner-up finish in second. If I could have that final lap back, I would take it back. I would have thrown a block on Gilliland, but if I would have done that block in turn 1, that very well could have left the door open for Austin Cindric to slip up the inside, and he could have won that race then as well. It was really an awkward spot to be in. Now, we are in all 3 races again this weekend, Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Now, the big thing this season is Trucks and Xfinity are kind of split off from Cup. They're going to be racing all over the place while Cup is at their respective tracks, as NASCAR is kind of trying to build the national spread of the other series to kind of get them all over the country every week instead of being in one specific location. But fortunately, both Trucks and Xfinity are out west, just like Cup. Cup Series, we're at Sonoma Raceway, a green Sonoma Raceway, and then the Xfinity Series is in Auto Club, and here we are in Las Vegas. So they're all pretty close together as we are really just focusing in on trying to help Tricon in this number 1 truck get better. We're really not expecting to compete for wins with Tricon right away, and there's already some early season rumors that Tricon is interested in potentially a Cup Series team going into next season, so we're gonna have to really pay attention to that. But yeah, it was a pretty slow night for myself here. Friday night under the lights at Las Vegas, and I didn't have a lot of speed in this truck, and I was down in 22nd late in the going until we actually had Ben Rhodes blow an engine out of turn 2 down the spank straight away. This opened the door wide open for myself to gain a bunch of positions, and thank you very much. We went up into P12. We would stay green, thank goodness, but P12 was as far as I would get. And actually coming to the final lap, it was Caden Honeycutt leading the way. It says 75, it's actually number 31. Caden Honeycutt wins here in Las Vegas, but through 3 and 4, you're going to see Josh Balicki in the number 18, going to get me on the exit of the corner right there. We're going to jump to P13, but yeah, P13 here in the Truck Series on Friday night as we just hold off our teammate of Tony Bradinger. But yeah, definitely this team's got a lot of work to do, and hopefully we can continue to help them get better. As you see the finishing order, Landon Huffman up there in 4th place, having a solid effort, one of the drivers that we're kind of keeping an eye on this season, and as well, like I said, we were doing the Xfinity race as well for Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 20 Top Golf Machine. And we saw in Daytona, runner-up there in the Xfinity race, runner-up in the 500. But Hailie Deegan in the Xfinity Series was able to win the race, put herself in the playoffs. Now, who can get the victory here today in Auto Club now as we head down towards turn number 1? Up front, it was a 21 of Chase Purdy for Richard Childress Racing. Now, a big opportunity for him this season to impress. And we talked about it last episode about some names to watch in Xfinity. A lot of them are, the Joe Gibbs names, the William Sawalich, Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed, but Rajah Caruth, we got to pay attention to him. Nick Sanchez as well. There's a lot of names to pay attention to, but Chase Purdy wasn't really one I had on my radar. He would win stage 1 here in the number 21, so looking very good as we were P11. Stage 2, we would gain a few positions, get up into towards the top 10 now, getting some stage points on the board, but this car was really tight. That was my issue. I was really struggling with the tightness, and it just made it really difficult in the mid-corner. But it was actually William Sawalich coming through to win stage number 2 here in Auto Club. So good to see that JGR has that typical Xfinity Series speed. We get to these larger tracks, mile and a half and above, and it just seems like they're untouchable sometimes. But Chase Purdy would end up P2. Now, I would get the lead after I decided to not take tires on the pit stop while everybody else took 2 tires. Only a 2-tire difference, but it's going to make a difference here now. So we've already made a mistake. We're going to regret it, and you're going to see just how quickly I regret it, because on the run down towards turn number 3, one lap later on the run down towards turn 1, lap 15, William Sawalich is going to pass me, and you can see, 4 wide behind me. I can't get the car to rotate. I was going to start dropping like a rock until eventually I found myself down here in P12. Connor Zilish, another driver that we are, of course, paying a lot of attention to, especially when it comes to the road racing side of things. I think he's kind of like an SVG hybrid, He's going to have to figure out the ovals, but once he figures it out, he's going to be in good shape. A caution comes out literal feet before Chase Purdy had taken the white flag here now. So this would force NASCAR overtime. I decided to risk it and pit, and actually Parker Retzlaff and Josh Williams did the same thing, and they also took no tires on the last pit stop just like me. So we throw 4 tires on the car, and we're basically just going to try and drive through as far as we can. And as we were approaching the final lap, we were able to drive up into the top 27 at least, passing Hailie Deegan here. Big shot to the back of Ryan Truex, but on the final lap, passing Nick Sanchez in the top 25. Ty Dillon with a rough day as well. We got Carson Kvapil here for 19th place to the line. It's going to be Chase Purdy picking up his first win in the Xfinity Series, and it's going to be a disappointing P19 for us. Definitely dropped the ball there. So it's not been the best start to the weekend, and hopefully we can turn things around going into, Sonoma. Stenhouse in third there as well. Connor Zilic was able to get in there into the top 5 for Trackhouse's second ever Xfinity Series start. And RFK, Trackhouse, the 2 new teams in the Xfinity Series, looking very hot so far. But now it's time to focus in on the Cup Series. It's early in the year. The grass is green. It's not the yucky brown that we're so used to seeing in Sonoma. Now it looks great. We are ready to get rolling here in the Moza colors now. Love this paint scheme. Absolutely beautiful car. I use Moza wheel actually all the time now. That's all I use at this point. I use the Formula style rim currently actually on the R12 base. Not sponsored, I swear. But just a huge shout out because I do really enjoy their products, and that's actually what I'm recording the video with, is the Moza. But yeah, we come through into qualifying, focusing in on a goal of a 1 minute 34.8, and you're going to see making a bit of a mistake here in the carousel. Of course, such an easy part of this racetrack to get wrong. The big name we're going to really have to watch out for this season is a new Trackhouse third full-time driver, Shane Van Gisbergen. We know he's going to be difficult to beat when it comes to these road courses. What can he put up in his first road course here on the season? Now, we won this race last season. Can we repeat and go back-to-back? We beat the exact car for the win, the 19 that we're driving right now, last season in a bit of a last lap controversy with some contact there, but to the line here when qualifying, we're going to easily dominate the goal, but it's not going to be enough for pole position. We're going to go P3. Pole position is going to actually go to the number 24 of William Byron, who went winless last season. Shane Van Gisbergen P2, Suarez in the Meyer Shank 06 in the top 5. I need to change his number card as we have some big drivers in the field as well that we're going to go over in the pre-show just momentarily. Now, let's head to the grid on Sunday in Sonoma.
We're one race into the new season where we saw Todd Gilliland go on to win the Daytona 500 last week. What a story for a little team that has won the 500 twice in the last 5 seasons.
A huge win for a great kid, too, guys. Todd has worked very hard to get to where he is today. Now we go road racing, which opens the door for another surprise winner.
A surprise winner, my ass, Kevin. Good luck beating that Shane Van Hamburger guy out there today, boys. This race is all his.
James, am I allowed to get physical with SVG?
I'd prefer if you didn't, mate. I might get a bad word back home.
All right, 10-4. I'll wreck him. We're ready to roll in Sonoma. Shane Van Gisbergen here up front on the front row, but the big names that are joining the field as well. We got Earl Bamber and 3 friends racing a road ringer, but more road ringers. Scott Dixon, the now, third IndyCar driver already on the season for Trackhouse's Project 91, and a Supercars star, Chaz Mostert, in the 51 for Rick Ware Racing. Now, I don't expect those guys to do quite as well as what we would expect from SVG, but nonetheless, William Byron, Shane Van Gisbergen set to lead the field to the green flag. Race number 2 is underway on season number 3 at a green Sonoma Raceway as we head up the elevation through these first few corners. Now, it's great to have a road course right off the bat. Honestly, it shows you the true diversity of the NASCAR Cup Series and just how, the skill sets play out. I mean, NASCAR drivers have to go through so many different types of racetracks, from the super speedways of Daytona, the road courses, the mile-and-a-half, the short tracks, etc. Then you got the hybrid short mile-and-a-half track like a Darlington as well. I mean, the Monster Mile of Dover. I mean, there is so many diverse series of racetracks here in the NASCAR Cup Series. Daniel Suarez in the Meyer Shank 06. Of course, Suarez, no stranger to success on road courses, and here he is inside the top 5, but we're going to try and take P3 away from him. SVG got the lead and is driven away already. We clear Suarez now to the back of the Raptor machine. Up the inside goes Suarez now. My teammate of Christopher Bell. Just behind, following suit, Elliott as well, trying to peek up my inside, nearly contact with the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet, but it's going to be a 4-car breakaway here now as SVG is long gone down the road. William Byron, right off the bat, you can tell something's not right in that Raptor machine as we continue to close in on him. You see a radio graphic right there. He's clearly indicating something's not quite handling properly in that number 24. And you see it at the end of lap 1. Suarez able to go up the inside here through the hairpin, get the pass done. Sonoma can be a bit of a difficult track for the AI to pass. So when you're getting passed up front, you know you're not really looking good. And we are all over the back of Byron here. But as well, I mean, crucial to be patient. We're in our 3rd season of our Cup Series career. I'm not trying to be stupid at this point now. We've gone through some hardships. We've made some mistakes, specifically with teammates, and we're just trying to be smarter this season as well with some of the decisions that we make. And we finally passed the 24 though, after a few corners of patience and waiting. So we'll take that 3rd position on the 2nd lap of this race, and Christopher Bell would follow suit pretty quickly to pass Byron, so he was now up to 4th, and Byron was tumbling down the order right off the bat. Suarez 2nd, trying to run down SVG now as we continue to try and run both of them down, but definitely that 97 is going to be a hard one to beat here today. Shane Van Gisbergen absolutely on it. We expect him to be successful on the road courses, but we know he's competitive on the ovals as well. If you remember season 2, he won on an oval and Kansas in his part-time Cup Series schedule. He got that win, and then he only did like 1 or 2 races after because Trackhouse realized the potential. Then they let him focus in on his Xfinity Series and Truck Series runs to just continue to build that experience, and now here he is for a full-time Cup Series campaign. What a day it would be if he could lock himself into the playoffs in just his 2nd full-time Cup Series race. SVG wins a 5-lap first stage here now. Suarez 2nd for the brand new Meyer Shank team, looking like that team has brought some pace this season as well. P3, P4 for Joe Gibbs Racing with myself and Bell. Larson in the top 5, Chastain, my teammate of Gibbs, Cindric, Elliott, Byron as well. But 11th on down are all going to come into the pits while we are all going to stay out. Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, way down the order. I can tell you right now though, road course is not a good indicator of what to expect from really any driver this season. So if your driver's not looking hot today, or in Daytona, there's no need to be concerned yet. We're back underway for stage number 2, which extends now to 7 laps instead of 5, which we barely have enough fuel to complete this stage here now as we're going to head up the elevation. So 11th on down is going to have some extra fuel, but more importantly, they're going to have fresh tires. As you can see myself slipping and sliding there on the exit of the corner a little bit here, side by side with the Mobile 1 machine of Christopher Bell, as he's going to try and go alongside towards the braking zone here into the right-hander. And look at the top 2 have already driven away in the mirror. We got Larson side by side with Chastain. I go a little bit off circuit right there, but we rejoin pretty quickly and successfully. We'll continue to put some pressure on our teammate of Christopher Bell. Back up the inside here through the long sweeping carousel and clear we are of that number 20 Mobile 1 machine. So back into 3rd, a bit of a slide there on the exit of the corner, but we continue on, and now we have to focus back in on trying to close that gap to the cars in front. But I think Suarez definitely the 2nd fastest car, but I just don't know if anybody right off the bat so far has really anything for Shane Van Gisbergen. I think we might, but obviously that is going to have to mean we need to be in the right position at the right time, and 3rd place wasn't really the right position on that restart to be able to attack that WeatherTech machine. I cannot wait for you guys to see some of the paint schemes SVG is going to start running following today. He's had WeatherTech the first 2 races, but there is some absolutely banger paint schemes on the way as I am absolutely sailing it off there into that hairpin. Fortunately, we stay ahead, but not for long because we slide on the exit. Now Bell goes through back into 3rd. We're drag racing down the front straight away as we go through to 6 laps to go. Bell is going to take that 3rd position. Now, in the mirror, you see that Busch Light Machine, Ross the Boss, Chastain there in 5th place here now, but we're going to run back down Christopher Bell in just a few moments time, and up the inside we go again. This will put us back through into the 3rd spot now as we go a little bit deep there into the braking zone. That opens the door up for the 20 wheel to wheel. Actually a bit of contact right there. He runs us a bit wide on the exit there. Not a big deal. There was really brief light contact, more of I just kind of left myself open for it to happen. So we're going to get right to the back of this 20 now and just get ready for the opportunity, hopefully down towards the final hairpin here, to go up the inside and pass them back here now as we go through the little right kink, and look at the exit that we're capable of getting. Up the inside we go again, and this will allow us to move through back into third again here now. So my biggest weak spot though of those circuits right there, that exit of the hairpin, I get really tight about halfway through. So the entry's okay, but about halfway through the whole exit, I get extremely tight, and the car, well, as you can imagine, hard to turn. So lap 9, actually a little bit of chaos brewing here as the 17 of Chris Buescher has gotten turned around. Actually, I believe he got turned around by Project 91 Scott Dixon. You see him right there as everyone's trying to get through. Carson Hosevart, Corey LaJoy, the Daytona 500 winner, as well as the 13 of Chandler Smith. But we would stay green, so we continue on in these closing laps now of stage number 2. And at this point, I had finally found a comfort in my pace and hitting my marks here, and it was starting to show because we're closing in on that Meyer Shank 06 of Daniel Suarez, but Suarez has not left a huge gap between himself and SVG, but there's enough of a gap still where Van Gisbergen can be still pretty comfortable. He's got about 1.3 seconds to the 06 right now, but we are continuing to close in on these two. The only part of the track that I'm actually losing is that final hairpin, and unfortunately I'm losing a really large chunk of time in that final hairpin, so it's certainly not making things easier. Approaching 2 laps to go in stage 2, and we continue to close up on the 06 now as we come to about a lap and a half to go through the double right-handers here, going a little bit wide, no big deal. Get it to rotate now, use up some of that curbing, and we continue to pressure that number 06 now. As you can see, final lap of stage 2. We hadn't really closed much more, but it's all about what can you do on that final run, you know, down through the S's leading into that hairpin, because if you just give me an opportunity to get there, I can do it. Now as we got a little bit sideways, but here we go through the S's for the final time. Look at the gains made now within a few car lengths of Suarez, and Suarez has gained on SVG as well, so don't write out that 06 either, but certainly don't write out us. We're the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Feel like comes on, coming to the final few moments here now, into the final turn, not quite close enough to make a lunge. Shane Van Gisbergen led every lap, dominated stage 1. He's going to do it again in stage 2 as we have a terrible exit there, but the caution is actually going to come out moments before we cross the line to end the stage anyways. But Shane Van Gisbergen is going to get credit with winning stage 1 as well as stage 2. Bell, Cindric, Chastain, Gibbs, Elliott, Larson, and Allmendinger for Colleague Racing in the 31. Your top 10 here as you see the rest of your finishing order. Everybody into the pit lane, including the drivers that pitted at the end of stage number 1. So we're going to come in and get 4 tires, but look at this. The Joe Gibbs pit crew gained us 2 spots and put us to the lead, while Suarez lost 2. He's down to 4th. Bell gains 1 and SVG loses 1. We control the race as stage 3 is underway. 12 laps to go here from Sonoma Raceway. Field is close, but we should have just enough fuel, but we don't have enough brake. We go too deep up the hill into the first braking zone, and we've choked. There goes the lead. SVG back out front now as we're close quarters right there with our teammate of Bell. Here comes our other teammate of Ty Gibbs up the inside. Both myself and Gibbs in our 3rd seasons of our Cup Series career. Last season, both of us together put up 5 wins, 3 for me, 2 for Gibbs, but he certainly looked way better than I did, towards the tail end of last season. Although we were in the playoffs, he wasn't at the time. He's definitely going to make the playoffs this season, and he's going to be a serious threat now up the inside of the 20 of Bell, and we're able to get back that 3rd position. I was kind of hustling because I knew we couldn't give up the same gap that we've given up at the first 2 stages. We can't be playing that much of a catch-up again here in the final stage of this race, so we immediately are able to get just pouncing on it there on the 20 car and get into the top 3 once again, and now we can focus in on trying to put some pressure on Suarez as well as SVG, going wide right there through the right kink, now struggling with the handling a little bit. We haven't made any adjustments today. I've been happy with how the car is driving, but a couple of mistakes here in these opening moments of stage 3. Don't forget, Shane Van Gisbergen, he's a part of the rookie class this year, getting things off to a good start for these Cup Series rookies. Of course, a bit on the older side of rookies. Last season, it was a race of 2 drivers, Carson Hocevar, Josh Berry. This season, a completely different story, and we'll take a look on that soon enough here momentarily as we continue to try and focus in on 10 laps to go, trying to beat the 06 of Suarez. That's our first objective, get in front of him, and then we can focus in on that 97. I expect the Suarez-Meyer-Shank combo to be absolutely spectacular when it comes to road courses, but I'm very curious to see what that team is going to be capable of when we get to the actual ovals starting, you know, in the next episode here. As we go up the inside, we'll lunge one on the 0-6 now. Suarez drops down into second place. Thank you very much. We'll move through. He drops down to third place as we take second place, and now we can try to chase down Shane Van Gisbergen as we have just 9 to go once we cross the stripe. We should be okay on fuel. Like I said, fuel is close, but we are like 1 lap or so to the good. So 1.8 seconds now to the WeatherTech machine as we put in a 131.6 flat right there. Now as up the elevation, a good opportunity to really just maintain the gap. We don't really gain a whole lot there, don't really lose anything. We just kind of maintain it now. A lap later, lap 23, you can see we are definitely just visually getting a little bit closer. And if you look in the rear view mirror, Suarez getting smaller. We just continue to finesse our way into the battle with the 97. We might be in for an Owen SVG showdown here today in Sonoma if this continues on the path it's going now through the double right-hander. And now he's got to be feeling the pressure at this point. How does Shane Van Gisbergen handle the pressure, fighting for what would be his 3rd win in the NASCAR Cup Series at this point? Chicago Street Course, then of course the win at Kansas Oval, and now looking for a win here in Sonoma. Now lap 24, he maintained the gap over the course of the last lap. Actually, you can see keeps it to nearly a second ahead at this point here as we head down the quick uphill then downhill carousel now, and SVG makes a mistake, unsettles the car, gets it back on track, but the gap closes between himself and I now as we continue to reel him in that WeatherTech machine. You see the rookie stripes on the rear bumper of that car. We expect SVG, although an experienced driver from V8 supercars and now many races under his belt in NASCAR and multiple wins, we still expect, you know, that finesse. It's not going to exactly be there here quite yet in a stock car. It's something that he's going to continue to build upon, but look at that. The hairpins where he absolutely dominates me every time. I can't get the car to rotate, and he just drives away by over a second as we come through to cross the line. 6 laps to go, but we gain a whole bunch of time back right here through this carousel. SVG gets through there a little bit better this time around, but still there's not quite as much confidence behind the wheel of that 97 as it felt like there was maybe a little bit earlier in the race here now. So continuing to just put that pressure on him. I think he's still the fastest car here, but if we can just stay within striking distance and put him into a spot where he can fumble, I mean, we're perfect. I mean, we'll be sitting pretty here now at this point now as we continue to run in that runner-up spot, but just try and put that pressure on him again. We get through to the hairpin, we lose more time. It's just kind of a back and forth, the cat and mouse game, you know, where I'll close in on him, he'll kind of drive away a little bit out of that hairpin, and then we'll reel him back in over the rest of the lap. So at the rate it's going, SVG is going to win this race. I just can't quite get close enough, but the caution is out.
All right, mate, we're going to stay out here. It'll be a 2-lap dash. Give it all you got.
Yep, 10-4. I'll see what I can do, but keep it clean at the same time. I know he's going to race me clean. I would have never said that at colleague racing. I would have said I was going to bulldoze him out of the way to win the race. But nonetheless, we're ready to roll for overtime. Unfortunately, the caution was for our teammate of Christopher Bell. He's out of the race. That's the second time a Joe Gibbs driver is going to be out here. Daytona, it happened to Gibbs, and now it happens to Bell. A look at our Season 3 rookies. Austin Hill there for Richard Childress Racing in the 8, taking over Kyle Busch, who went to Trackhouse. Chandler Smith in the 13, Zane Smith in the 21, Sammy Smith for Andretti in the 27. This is 3 Smiths. Corey Heim there, of course, in the 47 for the JTG team, and Shane Van Gisbergen in that Trackhouse 97. What a stacked rookie class we have this season as we're ready to roll for overtime. A 2-lap dash. We're on the front row, on the right side of the circuit, while SVG lined up on the left. He is the control car. We're back racing. In our mirror, we got help from our teammate of Ty Gibbs, having a good run here today as well. Can Suarez rally his way back in? We stay alongside the 97 up the elevation through these first couple of corners now, and SVG is going to open up the throttle a little bit better than I am able to. We drop down to P2, or not drop down, we were P2 to begin with. We maintain second right to the back of the 97 Trackhouse Racing. What a lineup they have this season. Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is going to be an exciting one to watch once we get to the normal track starting next episode. Here we go, putting pressure on the 97. up the inside. He leaves the door wide open. Now we're going to be wheel to wheel, but look at him. He's going to pinch us down, not give us a lot of room. There's enough to, of course, leave space for my car, but not enough to open up the wheel here. We're going to be drag racing here down the straightaway. Suarez back into the mix as well as we go down into the double right-hander. SVG brakes early. We go a little bit deep in the corner, so maybe he didn't brake early. I just braked too late, and now we're wheel to wheel. He leaves the room. Now, as we continue side by side down towards the S's wheel, lunge it down in there, and we're clear for the lead here from Sonoma, the second time today that we've been in P1. The first time we threw immediately in the first couple of corners. The run towards the hairpin. This is the problematic part. SVG within a few car lengths, and again, cannot rotate through the exit in. SVG doors open. He's back up the inside. Wheel to wheel as we go through the left-hander closer. I just put myself on the wall like an idiot. White flag in the air here in Sonoma. Suarez right to my back bumper. Gibbs within a couple of car lengths as well. It's a 4-car breakaway like we saw early in the race. 5th place on back, just doesn't quite have the speed, and SVG has an advantage that I just don't have right now, and that is handling. His car is just driving so much better than my Moza Toyota Camry is now as we go down towards the braking zone here into this right-hander, going a little bit deep and wide again. That's kind of been the story of the day now as we continue on, though. We have an opportunity right here to really lunge it up the inside if he leaves the door open, and he does. An unexpected move up the inside of the New Zealander. Now as we continue wheel to wheel, he doesn't leave a lot of room. I can't open the door again. He keeps it clean. However, now as we're wheel to wheel, Suarez ready to pounce for a second time as we go down towards the 2 right-handers, this time trying to not outbrake myself here. We keep it within the track limits. Now leaning on the door of the 97. He's going to push wide. Slight little contact right there. He closes the door as now Gibbs puts pressure on Suarez, but he's not going to be successful. Suarez holds on to P3. SVG trying to run for his life, but I'm right there, but I slip and slide right there on the exit. That allows him to pull away about 2 to 3 car lengths as we go wide. I probably just threw it right there. I couldn't get the car to turn through the kink. I don't think it's going to be enough. We try to close in on the WeatherTech machine. 1 corner to go. We lunge it in deep. Can we get to the bumper? Yes, we can, but it's not going to matter. The 97 is planted, and Shane Van Gisbergen exits the final hairpin. He's going to come through to get his first win in the NASCAR Cup Series as a full-time driver. Now P2 is runner-up, second time in a row, Daytona 500, and now Sonoma Raceway as well. That was frustrating. I mean, just didn't have enough all day long, unlike what we had last season there, but Shane Van Gisbergen is able to pick up the win. You see the finishing results there. How about Chaz Mostert in his debut, 17th for Rick Ware. Reddick a bit disappointing in P16 as a road course guy. RFK didn't really show up either. Kozlowski Busher 19th and 20th, and no better for Justin Haley. Scott Dixon in 23rd there. Sammy Smith down in 31st. A rough day for Bubba Wallace, Alex Spellman, Josh Berry, to name a few. Todd Gilliland goes from winning the 500 to 39th, and his teammate only 38th. A terrible day for that front row team. Next episode, we're on to a mile and a half Chicagoland. That's where we're going to find out what teams are fast, what teams aren't. That's going to be an exciting one. I'll see you guys then after 2 back-to-back runner-up finishes. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.